time to carry on with our Hammarlund project. Good day and welcome back to Mike's Radio Repair and Restoration. Today we're going to be carrying on with our Hammarlund project. This will be part 2, and we're going to kick off with a resistor check. Before we get to that, remember, if you're following along at home, danger high voltages, you do so at your own risk if you're following along. So please take all the necessary precautions to protect yourself. So our last video, we did what we call part 2 of my restoration process. This is where we dealt with the power supply capacitors and all of the components around the base of the audio tube, as well as dealing with the power cord. And before we move on and start checking resistors, I've done a bit of a drawing for the changes I've made to the power supply. That will probably make it a little bit more clear for some folks what changes I did do. So we're just going to pull up those drawings and compare the original to and after. Okay, here we go with a before and after of the primary side of the power transformer. And my complaint was as if with a non-polarized plug like what would have come from the factory, when this was plugged in, it could have been hot and lit up one side of the power transformer, which I don't think is necessarily a safe deal. So what I've done very simply is I put a 3-prong plug on, of course with a ground. So now the hot is always fixed on one side, and you can't change it unless your house is wired wrong, of course. But as I say, that the hot hits a fuse first and then onto the switch. So this is the changes I've made to the power supply wiring that have improved its safety. Not only with grounding, but with when you shut the hot off, the transformer becomes only connected to the neutral side, which adds a little bit more safety. So we're going to go ahead with resistors, but first we're going to pull up a schematic and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the resistors we're going to be looking hard at. We're going to look at all of them, but some of them we're going to look at really hard. So let's find out what that means. Okay, so here we're looking at around Z1 is the first IF transformer and these tubes in here. So of course we want to check all the resistors as we go. And I have a video out there that discusses resistors in depth, important information that you really should watch. For instance, R6 resistor is directly in contact with RF. So you can't replace it with a metal film resistor because a metal film resistor has a little bit of inductance and it can really mess things up on the higher frequencies. It's not so bad on the low bands, but when you start getting up over 20 megahertz, a metal film resistor can really cause some difficulties. So you have to replace it with OX or OY class resistor. Again, watch my resistor video. It'll sort that out for you. But there are other resistors here. This is the cathode of V3, and it can be replaced with a standard metal film resistor. And the cathode and plate resistors tend to work the hardest, and they're the ones we're going to look real hard at. They are the ones that tend to drift over the course of time. And when they drift, like this 150 ohm resistor on R7 here, if it drifts up to 170 or 200 ohms, that's a loss of performance for that stage. Same with stuff on the plate, like R8, this 2200 resistor here. We're going to take a real hard look at that type of stuff. Where else can we have that? Here's another one we're going to have a good hard look at. There's a series of resistors here that need to be looked at real good. Nice thing about this radio is it has an OC3 voltage regulator in it. So this is the regulated voltage line. So there's not a lot of drift once this radio gets warmed up. It's kind of nice. So we'll go through all the resistors, but again, here's another typical cathode resistor that's prone to drifting. And again, here's the plate resistor here. Look like they're all 2200 ohms, 2.2K. So those are the types of ones you want to look at real hard. They can really, when you go through the radio, I mean, if they're all drifted up a little bit, and you put all good top quality 1% metal films in there, again, where they're not in contact directly with RF, you can pick up a considerable amount of gain and performance and have a radio stand up and perform like it was new again. So those are the types of things we're gonna be looking real hard at. So let's turn the old girl over and take a look. Okay, here we are taking a peek at the underside, the other side of the underside. Right off the bat, when I flipped it over, I'm seeing something I didn't see before. Here's another one of these funny colored power resistors here that's wire wound. It's also corroded. It's also falling apart. It's 3,000 ohms at 10 watts. And of course, I don't have one in stock. That always seems to be the way. Measuring it, it measures at 4.3K, so it's well out of range and needs to be replaced. That resistor is on the OC3 voltage regulator. I just quickly turned it on a minute ago and measured the regulated voltage. Should be around 109 volts. Right now it's 106, so it's not catastrophically bad at all, but I mean, it's corroded, it's breaking up, it has to be replaced. So that's the first thing that I see. I just want to rewind and talk a little bit about something else I see here that kind of sort of, I don't know, what am I going to say? I'm going to bitch about, I guess. When you work on a Helicrafter receiver or any other receiver, it's very common that there's a series of wafer switches here, rotary wafer switches that control, the antenna coils, the oscillator coils, and the RF coils, and brings various tune circuits in and out of place as you switch through the bands, i.e., that's the band switch, this big long shaft. When you work on a Helicrafter unit like this, the band switch shaft will have a bearing at the front, and they'll go all the way through to the back, and they'll have a bearing at the front. Or, I'm sorry, a bearing at the back. One bearing at the front, one bearing at the back. The shaft will go all the way through. So it provides it quite a bit of stability. This doesn't have a bearing in the back, and it feels not the greatest. I mean, that's one thing that Hammarlund could have done better. They could have put a bearing in the rear of the case here. They didn't. That's just, I guess, one of my pet peeves. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start checking resistors. I'm going to start at the front of the radio, or the first tubes. And basically, I'm going to pull the tube, and any open-ended resistors I'll check. Anything that's I can't check after pulling the tube, that means both ends of the resistor are tied down in some way, shape, or form, or will skew the results. I may lift one end, and if I have to do that, normally I just go ahead and replace the resistor. So I'm going to work my way through and see what I find. This is not, the way they've laid this out is not the most easiest thing to work on. A lot of the resistors are all packed and stacked together and tucked behind things and underneath terminal bars, and my face is not smiling on this, so I'm hoping that these are good quality resistors and not a lot of them is drifted. So I'm going to start that process now, beginning at the front of the radio, or the first tube, and go through it piece by piece, and let's see where we go. So I'll be back in a minute. Well, I'll come in and out with reports. Great news! We've reached a milestone with YouTube that allows our subscribers to offer us a great big thanks in the way of a tip. The funds collected from your generous tips will be used to buy more old radios and parts to generate more great content. On a PC, if you click on the three dots in the bottom right corner, you can choose Thanks from the menu and choose your tip amount. If you're on a mobile device, again, you can see Thanks in the lower right-hand corner. Your consideration and support of our channel is certainly greatly appreciated. I thank all of you that have turned this so quickly into a great community. Well, it's been an interesting journey, that's for sure. I've been through probably 99% of the resistors on the radio, and other than the one big power resistor on the voltage regulator, I haven't found any that have been horribly out of range. I've found a few that were up around 5%, 6%, but nothing beyond that. Nothing I need to change at this point. I've still got a couple more here that I need to look at. But I'm going to guess probably they're going to be fine too. And as I've gone, pulled tubes out of sockets, I've checked in tubes and I'm not finding anything horrible in tubes. So really the next step is to begin an alignment. But I'm not going to be able to do that until I change that one bad resistor up here. Although at 106 volts, I don't expect the new resistor is going to grossly change that voltage. But what it will do, it will change the voltage on the unregulated B plus side, which could have ramifications for other things, ABC and whatnot. So I think I will hold off on alignment until I have that resistor. I've already ordered it, so it'll be a little bit before it gets here. I just don't want to start doing all the alignment and then radically change some of the voltages on the or the ratio between the B plus and the regulated line. I don't want to do alignment until those voltages are carved in stone. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay, taking a quick look at the schematic. The resistor on the voltage regulator a new one will likely pull down the unregulated B plus line considerably. That resistor is like a 4.4K, so it's 1400 ohms higher than what it should be. And when I put a 3K back in there, it's going to tug on that unregulated B plus line. And the problem with that is that unregulated line controls the sensitivity adjustment, which is a balance between providing a kind of a positive bias to turn gain down on some of the initial tubes, or turning the other way to turn the gain way up, more towards grounding the cathodes on those tubes so that the tubes pull harder and they work harder. So that balance voltage is unregulated, and I fear that by not waiting to put a new resistor in there, that our alignment will be all for naught. It's very common that when you turn on ABC or switch back to manual, that you see the pass band of the IF change a little bit. I don't want to get into that with this resistor. You'll probably see what I mean when we get into alignment. So I want things to be just so when we attempt to align the IF on this and get the crystal phasing filter properly working. So I'm going to hold this video here, unfortunately, and we'll pick this radio up again when the new 3K resistor comes in, and we'll take it out from there. But I was very surprised that I didn't have to replace a single other resistor, and all the tubes tested very well, and I don't think the radio's had a lot of use on it. It's probably just sat and collected dust, and probably sat in somebody's damp basement for just too long. It seems to be working reasonably well as it is. I know it's got a few glitches in it that I know alignment's going to sort out, so all in all, I think we're on track. So in the next one, hopefully we'll get that resistor in, and we'll get on towards IF and RF alignment, and we'll see what we got at the end of the journey. So thanks for tuning in. If you like our series of videos, please like and subscribe. We could really use your support. And until the next one, we'll see you again.